Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're taking an in-depth look at a market that's not just growing, it's absolutely exploding. The global 5G systems integration and services market.
hmm
You've shared some incredible insights, some really detailed data, and our mission today is, to unpack the most important nuggets from all this.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
We're going to trace its financial journey, basically from 2021 all the way out to 2033. Look at the values, the growth trends, and what this big transformation means across all the global regions. Okay, let's get into it.
Indeed. And what's really fascinating here, I think, is just the sheer scale and the speed of the growth. I mean, we're talking about a sector that's set to become fundamentally transformative. It's driven by, the rapid 5G rollout, obviously, but also the soaring demand for data.
Right.
And critically, this need for complete end-to-end connectivity solutions right across industries.
Okay, so let's start with that big picture then, the global numbers. In 2021, this market was valued at just under $4.9 billion. Right. So let's say $400 and $870 million.
Right. Around that mark.
Fast forward to 2025, and it's forecasted to hit nearly $12.9 billion. That's $12,877 million. That shows a pretty robust compound annual growth rate, the CAGR of around 27.5%.
Yeah, 27.516% to be exact, which is very strong year-on-year growth.
And for our listeners, that CAGR is essentially the average annual growth rate over that period smoothed out, gives us a clear picture of its steady expansion.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets, well, truly astonishing. By 2033, the projection is over $90 billion. That's $90,021 million.
A huge leap.
It's an almost unimaginable leap. What does this rapid acceleration, what does that really signal to you about the fundamentals here?
Well, this trajectory signals a fundamental shift. It's how enterprises, even governments, view 5G. It's moving beyond just, faster mobile broadband for your phone.
Okay.
It's really about enabling highly specialized applications, things like precision smart factory automation or remote healthcare diagnostics, maybe truly intelligent city infrastructure. All of these things demand robust, seamlessly integrated 5G systems. Ah, right.
So the numbers, they're showing us precisely where these critical high-value use cases are really taking off fastest.
That brings up a good point. Before we dive deeper into the regions, when we talk about 5G systems integration and services, what exactly are we talking about? Is it just like putting up antennas?
Yeah.
Or is it much more complex?
Oh, it's definitely the latter. Much more complex. Think of it less like just installing some new hardware.
Okay.
And more like weaving a complex digital tapestry. It involves everything from designing the core 5G network architecture, deploying it,
Right.
to integrating it with existing enterprise IT systems, cloud platforms, and then developing custom applications that really leverage 5G's unique capabilities.
Like the low latency stuff.
Exactly. Like ultra-low latency for industrial automation or maybe massive connectivity for, say, smart city sensors. It's about making sure all these different pieces, hardware, software, industry solutions work together seamlessly and securely all over that 5G backbone.
Okay, that paints a much clearer picture, thanks. So now let's zoom into North America.
This region held a significant chunk of the market, didn't it? Around $1.75 billion back in 2021. That's $1,748 million.
Yeah, a major player right from the start.
And it's projected to grow to over $4.5 billion by 2025. That's $539 million. And then expected to reach an astounding $30.6 billion by 2033.
30.6 billion, yeah.
Right.
$30,607 million.
With a solid CGR, still very strong, at just under 27%, 26.942%.
That's right. And within North America, the United States has really dominated. Its market was about $1.37 billion in 2021, $36.67 million.
Wow.
Still maintaining a strong CGR of around 26.8%, 26.792%.
Okay. And Canada and Mexico.
Also showing impressive growth. Canada is forecasted to reach over $4.5 billion by 2033, $563 million, with a KGR slightly higher, actually, at nearly 27.6%, 27.618%. And Mexico is rising to approximately $2.4 billion by 2033, $436 million, with a KGR over 27.1%, 27.163%.
The numbers for North America are certainly eye-opening. Suggests a mature market, maybe, but still expanding really rapidly.
Absolutely. A strong base and continued investment.
So as we trace this global footprint, let's look across the Atlantic. Europe, what's driving their contribution? Is it as robust?
It is robust, yeah. In Europe, the market was valued at just over $1 billion in 2021, about $161 million.
So?
By 2025, it's set to reach nearly $2.75 billion. $742 million, expanding to over $18.5 billion in 2033. That's $18,544 million. And the CAGR is very similar to North America's, actually, just under 27%, 26.984%.
It's interesting. Which countries are leading the charge there?
Well, the UK is projected to grow from around $141 million in 2021, $141.214 million, to over $2.5 billion by 2033, $562 million. CAGR there is about 27.4%.
Okay.
Germany shows even stronger growth, interestingly, increasing from around $211 million, $278 million, to 206.267%, reaching nearly $2.2 billion by 2033, $299 million. And we also see promising numbers from Spain, expected to reach over $1.5 billion, $1,502 million, and Sweden hitting almost $1.16 billion, $1,159 million.
All right.
And even, some smaller markets like Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they're all contributing significantly, growing at strong double-digit rates.
Germany's surge there, that really stands out among the European figures, nearly hitting $4 billion. Is there something specific driving that? Maybe it's industrial base or government stuff compared to the UK or France?
Yeah, I think Germany's strong manufacturing sector, particularly its whole Industry 4.0 initiative, is a key driver.
Oh, okay.
They're investing heavily in smart factories, industrial IoT, and these things demand that robust, low-latency 5G connectivity that's deeply integrated into their, operational technology.
Makes sense.
So this focus on enterprise-specific applications probably gives them a distinct edge in the systems integration part, maybe compared to markets focusing more heavily on just the consumer mobile side.
Right. Okay. Now, if you're looking for where the most rapid transformation is happening, the material explicitly calls out Asia-Pacific. It's the fastest growing region. CAGR over 28.6%, 28.606%.
That's the one, yeah.
What does that look like in numbers? And what makes it such a powerhouse?
Well, starting from just over $1.2 billion in 2021, $237 million, the market there will rise to nearly $3.4 billion by 2025. $380 million, and then it just soars. Almost $25.3 billion by 2033. That's $25,296 million.
$75 billion.
Yeah. China is the largest market within the region, expected to hit over $7.7 billion, $719 million.
Okay.
Japan also shows really significant growth, reaching over $3.7 billion, $733 million. But what's truly remarkable, I think, is India. It has the highest TAGR overall. Globally.
Wow.
Highest TGR, yeah. Nearly 29.6%, 29.577%. It grows from around $184 million in 2021, $183.915 million, to over $4.1 billion by 2033, $414 million.
That's incredible growth from that starting point.
It really is.
Yeah.
Other major players to mention: South Korea at nearly $1.95 billion, $1,945 million. Australia over $1.14 billion, $1,144 million. And Singapore also has a very high CGR, over 29%, 29.083%, hitting almost $780 million, $779.96 million by 2033.
What's fueling that kind of explosive growth across APAC?
It's a combination, really. Rapid digital transformation happening across the board. Massive population bases obviously help scale.
Sure.
And very proactive government support for 5G deployment, especially in countries like India and China. That's undeniably fueling this accelerated growth.
It's easy to get kind of lost in all these huge numbers, but yeah, the sheer scale of APAC growth, and especially India leading the CAGR, it really puts into perspective how foundational this shift is globally.
Definitely.
But to really get the full global picture, we need to look beyond the sort of the major economic blocks. What about South America, the Middle East, Africa? Are they following similar paths, or are there unique things happening there?
Absolutely. We see significant growth there, too. I mean, it's exponential growth, often from a smaller starting base, but the trajectory is steep.
Okay.
So South America, its market was valued around $375 million in 2021, $375.025 million, expected to grow exponentially to over $7.1 billion by 2033. That's $731 million. The CAGR there is nearly 27.8%, 27.805%. So very strong again.
Right up there with the others.
Exactly. Brazil leads the region, projected to reach over $2.7 billion by 2033, $2,747 million, followed by Argentina and Colombia also making significant contributions. And what you often see in these regions is they're kind of leapfrogging older technologies, going straight into 5G for certain applications.
Interesting. Okay. And the Middle East, what's the story there?
The Middle East market grows from around $312 million in 2021, $311.709 million, to nearly $5.87 billion by 2033. $866 million. CAGR there is over 27.6%, 27.693%. Saudi Arabia is a key player, expected to hit over $1.55 billion, $558 million. With Turkey, UAE, Egypt, Qatar also showing strong figures, often driven by big smart city initiatives and massive infrastructure projects you see in that region.
Right. Makes sense. Okay, finally, let's at Africa.
Okay, Africa. The 5G systems integration market there was about $136 million in 2021, $136.373 million. Small start,
Yeah.
growing to nearly $383 million in 2025, $383.183 million, and projected to reach over $2.57 billion by 2033, $2,575 million. The CAGR is just under 26.9%, 26.895%. So again, strong growth potential.
And who's leading within Africa?
Nigeria and South Africa are really leading the charge. Nigeria is climbing to over $419 million and $419.293 million by 2033. South Africa hitting over $1 billion, $138 million.
Okay.
And these markets, they're often driven by mobile-first economies. There's huge potential for 5G to bridge significant connectivity gaps and enable completely new digital services for large populations.
What a truly comprehensive look we've had at this market. It's clear, isn't it? We're not just seeing growth. It's an exponential transformation everywhere.
It really is. Across every single global region.
And this whole sector is just creating massive economic opportunities. The sheer pace of growth signals just how critical this system integration piece is going to be for the future of 5G infrastructure, really.
Absolutely. It highlights that 5G, it's so much more than just faster internet on your phone. It's about creating this interconnected ecosystem, one that truly changes how we live and work.
Yeah.
And for you, the listener, the relevance of knowing this, it's about understanding this foundational shift that's happening in connectivity itself and all the industries it's going to enable or disrupt.
So as you think about these, monumental numbers and the rapid expansion we've talked about today, especially the incredible growth in places like Asia Pacific and South America, consider this provocative thought maybe.
Yeah.
Beyond just faster mobile speeds, what truly new, maybe currently unimaginable applications or even whole industries?
Yeah.
What will be born and thrive specifically because we have this robust, globally integrated 5G system?
Good question.
What opportunities might you uncover by knowing this? Perhaps in areas we haven't even conceived of yet. We really hope this deep dive has given you a shortcut to being truly well-informed on this exploding market. Until next time, keep exploring.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a deep plunge into, the really fascinating world of the 5G systems integration and services market. It's foundational, really. If you've been wondering how this tech is, reshaping everything from smart cities to factory floors, you're in the right place. Our mission today, to cut through the noise. We'll pull out the key dynamics, the drivers, maybe some surprising hurdles, and the big future trends. And we're doing this using insights from cognitive market research's analysis. Think of it as your shortcut to getting up to speed.
Absolutely. And what's so compelling here, I think, is seeing how 5G integration isn't just some add-on. It's really becoming the bedrock, almost invisible, for so much of our digital future. We're talking about enabling capabilities that honestly felt like science fiction just, a few years back. So as we unpack this, maybe think about how these shifts could impact your world, your business perhaps, or just daily connected life.
Okay, let's unpack that right away then. We're seeing this explosive growth in 5G systems integration, but what's really fueling that? What's the engine driving it forward right now?
Well, it's interesting. It's not just that 5G is rolling out globally, it's the sheer speed of it. Telecom operators, they're accelerating these 5G infrastructure rollouts like never before. And that speed itself creates a kind of critical need, It's less about just adopting it and more about the challenge of making it all work together seamlessly at scale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So getting the towers up is just step one.
Exactly. Making sure all that new hardware, the software, the networking gear actually talks to the older systems and performs optimally and, crucially, can scale for whatever comes next. That's where integration becomes absolutely essential. It's the glue holding it all together.
That makes total sense. The sheer infrastructure push creates that immediate demand. But what about businesses themselves? Are they playing a big role too?
Oh, absolutely. A profound role, actually. We're seeing this huge wave of enterprise digital transformation and at the same time an explosion of IoT devices, the Internet of Things. Companies aren't just, digitizing paperwork. They're rethinking entire operations. They're deploying thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of connected devices, and these things demand super fast, super reliable, low latency connections.
Which is where 5G comes in.
Precisely.
Mm.
And when 5G is integrated properly, seamlessly, it enables things like real-time analytics right at the edge. Think precision remote monitoring, highly automated workflows, things like that. So these integration services, they're not just like helpful extras. They're foundational. They're key to unlocking the full value of all those digital investments, those edge computing strategies everyone's talking about. It's really about moving from just being connected to being truly intelligent in your operations.
And I heard it's not just about the big public networks either, right? There's another trend emerging, something more specific.
Yes, exactly. That's a really important point. We're seeing a significant and growing adoption of private 5G networks. So picture an enterprise, maybe a large factory or an airport, a university campus. They decide to build their own custom dedicated 5G environment right on site.
Why would they do that? More control.
That's a big part of it. Boosting security is key, ensuring ultra-reliable connectivity for critical operations, and gaining really unprecedented control over their sensitive data flows. Where the data goes, who sees it. So yeah, it's like building your own private digital highway instead of just using the public roads.
That makes sense for certain industries.
It does. But this move towards tailored private connectivity, it comes with really complex design and deployment needs. And that's exactly where the system integrators become absolutely pivotal. They're the architects, the builders, managing the whole life cycle of these bespoke networks, from planning to operation.
Right. So if you're an organization thinking about data security or needing that hyper-reliable connection, or even if you're just wondering why 5G seems to be popping up everywhere, these are some of the core reasons driving that shift, sometimes under the radar.
Okay, but like any huge tech leap, it's never perfectly smooth, is it? What are some of the big hurdles, the roadblocks facing this 5G integration market?
Yeah, that's the flip side, isn't it? What's making this tricky? Well, one of the biggest challenges is just the sheer complexity and how custom these projects often need to be. Trying to weave new 5G capabilities into existing systems, sometimes systems that are decades old, that demands really careful planning, significant upgrades just to make them talk to each other, interoperability.
So every project is almost unique.
It often feels that way, yes. Every deployment can have its own quirks, its own specific requirements. And that uniqueness, well, it drives up costs. It can also really stretch out the timelines. And this complexity, this cost, it can definitely discourage smaller or mid-sized companies from jumping in, especially maybe in emerging markets. Makes sense. Beyond the pure tech complexity, what about, say, people, skills, and maybe the rules and standards?
Ah, yes. Those are definitely major factors, too. There's a real global shortage, a gap in experienced engineers and integrators, people who are truly skilled in 5G implementation. Finding that talent is a bottleneck.
And standards.
And the standards issue, particularly in some emerging regions, they can be inconsistent. When technical standards aren't uniform, it just complicates deployments even more. It adds risk, stretches project timelines, as integrators have to navigate different rules. So yeah, this sort of double whammy, the talent gap and the variable standards, that remains a pretty big roadblock.
And then there's always the money, isn't there? The bottom line.
Always. The financial side is definitely a major consideration. Businesses often face really significant upfront investment. You're talking new hardware, specialized software, paying for that skilled integration labor we just mentioned, and then robust cybersecurity frameworks on top, which are critical with 5G.
That's a big check to write.
It is. And without really clear sector-specific examples, use cases showing immediate compelling benefits, or, guarantees of a quick return on that investment, the ROI. Many organizations, particularly those maybe on tighter budgets, so they're understandably hesitant. It feels like a big leap, maybe even a gamble, without a clear path to seeing the payoff.
So definitely some significant barriers there.
Yeah.
Technical, financial, human resources. The market's navigating all of that. But despite those hurdles, things aren't standing still, right? The market's evolving. There must be some really interesting trends shaping the future, things coming down the pike. What's on the horizon?
Oh, absolutely. And if you connect the dots, these trends aren't just small tweaks. They're really building towards a whole new kind of digital architecture. A major one is the much deeper integration of 5G with edge computing and artificial intelligence platforms, AI.
Okay, edge and AI. How does that work with 5G?
So system integrators are now creating these hybrid models. Models that support real-time decision-making, but hyper-localized, meaning the data gets processed right there at the source, almost instantaneously, not sent back to a central cloud first. This is a total game changer for industries like, say, autonomous vehicles, advanced robotics, smart manufacturing.
Because speed matters incredibly there.
Exactly. Latency is critical. So it's really no longer just about adding a faster network pipe. It's about fundamentally redesigning how industries use data, moving from centralized thinking to immediate, intelligent action right at the edge.
It sounds incredibly powerful, almost like giving intelligence right to the devices or the factory floor itself. And I've heard about this concept called slicing, network slicing. Sounds like it could really customize network use.
Yes, network slicing is potentially transformative. It's a core capability of 5G. The basic idea is that 5G can run multiple virtual networks on the very same physical infrastructure. Each slice can be customized. Specific bandwidth, specific latency needs, reliability guarantees, all tailored.
Like dedicated lanes on a highway.
That's a great analogy. Exactly like that. A highway that can create special high-priority lanes on demand. So this allows sectors like, say, critical healthcare applications or high-stakes online gaming or real-time vehicle communications. They can operate on their own customized, performance-guaranteed network slice. No sharing resources if they don't need to.
And integration services manage these slices.
Yes, that's crucial. Integration services handle the orchestration, the performance monitoring, managing those critical service level agreements, the SLAs. It adds whole new layers of value, ensuring that dedicated performance is delivered reliably where it's absolutely needed most.
That flexibility is a massive step up. Now, for those businesses maybe put off by that big upfront investment we talked about, is there a more accessible way in?
There is, and this could really change the game for accessibility. It's the emergence of 5G as a service, 5G OS. Basically, this model lets organizations access full 5G infrastructure and the needed integration capabilities, but on a subscription basis.
Yeah, like software as a service, but for 5G networks.
Exactly. So it dramatically lowers that barrier to entry. No huge capital expenditure up front. It's proving particularly attractive, as you might guess, to mid-sized enterprises, those looking for faster digital adoption without needing deep pockets for infrastructure. So by offering these complete managed integration services on demand, 5G isn't just cutting costs. It's really paving the way for more scalable, more agile deployments. It's democratizing access to these advanced 5G capabilities.
So that really fast, reliable connection you might be starting to notice on your phone today, that's really just the tip of the iceberg. The real revolution is how 5G integration enables whole new levels of digital intelligence.
Wow.
This deep dive has really taken us on quite a journey, hasn't it? From understanding the core drivers pushing this 5G integration market forward, through navigating the complexities and challenges it's facing, to exploring these genuinely transformative trends that are really shaping what comes next.
It really shows, I think, how 5G integration isn't just a technical service you buy. It's becoming a foundational layer for the entire next wave of digital innovation, making things possible that weren't before. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Think about how something like 5G as a service, by making these really advanced capabilities available on demand, how that could dramatically speed up tech adoption, not just in the biggest corporations, but across smaller businesses, maybe even whole communities, truly democratizing that digital future.
A powerful thought to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep exploring the technologies that are shaping our world.